Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're at. Earlier this morning, I was at that beautiful park and I was going to film there, but it got really crowded. A lot of people showed up. It's the weekend and people like to go out there and walk around. So I'm just going to do a real quick video today. I did touch on real quickly when I first started whether Lao Tzu was a real character or not. And I just wanted to drift back onto whether or not that even really matters. So traditional legend, right, is a Chinese tradition, most notably recorded by the historian Sima Qian in the 1st century BC, describes him as an older contemporary of Confucius in the 6th century BC. According to the story, he basically grew weary of societal decay. He rode a water buffalo before disappearing into the wilderness. He was asked to write out a 5,000 character text of all his wisdom. Someone asked him, hey, listen, before you go, could you write some stuff down? You're a pretty wise guy, and we don't want to lose you, but if you're going to ride that water buffalo away into the wilderness and we're never going to hear from you again, could you take some time and write out your wisdom for us? And that's how the Tao Te Ching came to be. Of course, the damn academics always got to come in, and their academic consensus is that most modern scholars view the biography of him riding a water buffalo off and writing these texts out as sort of a last favor to society before he disappears, is a myth that was created after the texts were composed. So there's some evidence, kind of like the Bible, where Jesus is dead for not quite 100 years, but 70 to 80 years before we started seeing the written Gospels. We see versions of the Tao Te Ching, and there's no mention of the Lao Tzu until later, like almost 100 years later in some cases. So the Tao Te Ching contains a compilation of philosophical sayings and proverbs that were likely collected and written down by multiple anonymous authors, sages, and mystics over several centuries, so between the 6th and 4th centuries BC. So they think that, probably these sayings were around for quite some time. And it kind of makes sense. And does it matter? No, because we have the sayings, we have the verses, we have the beauty in what was written. And it doesn't matter if it came from one person or it came from a multitude of people. We have it. Maybe there was an old master who did write down the collective sayings of multiple people over several hundred years. Maybe that's the way it went down. Who knows? And at this point, who cares? We have those sayings. We have them with us, and we can use them. And the one I'm going to look at today real quickly is 5. So paragraph or verse 5, just a part of it. The Tao does not take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The master does not take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. The Tao is like a bellows, is empty yet infinite in its capability. The more you use it, the more it produces. The more you talk of it, the less you understand. So we have to watch how much we talk about it, lest we become those people who don't understand. So I try to keep these brief. So the Tao does not take sides, right? It's just nature. It's just nature's way. And it's not going to take sides. It does give birth to good and evil because, like we talked about, that's the whole yin-yang philosophy. You can't have one without the other. So it gives birth to good, and of course it has to give birth to evil, because without evil, what is good? There is no good without evil, and vice versa. They both emerge from the same source, which is the Tao, which is nature, which is the way. She welcomes both saints and sinners because she knows, and the feminine is used a lot in these translations. And by the way, there's many different translations of the Tao Te Ching. One thing that you got to understand is that the language used back then, Chinese language used back then, does not translate very well or easily back to English. So there's a lot of different translations. There's newer translations where people have taken a lot more liberties to sort of make them seem more contemporary. So when you're reading these, you might hear the verses sound completely different depending on what version of the book you're reading. And once you've read enough versions, you'll sort of at least be able to see the line that goes through it all, Wu Wei, and that whole thing is sort of the tether that keeps it together. The Tao is like a bellows. It's empty yet infinitely capable. If anybody doesn't know what a bellows is, back in the day, it was a lifesaver. It was, you pulled it out to draw air in and closed it to push air out, and it kept your fire going. So all night long when you were cooking, you were pulling, opening, and closing. Or if you needed to generate heat and get the fire moving even more, you use this bellows. So the more you use it, the more it produces. The more you pull it apart, the more air you suck in and the more air you push out. So the more you talk of it, the less you understand. Again, this goes right back to chapter 1 about naming. The people, Lao Tzu, if he was a real person, if he was really the old master and he did write these, or if this was a compilation of things over the years, they clearly had an issue with naming and talking too much about these things. It's more of a do it or feel it or experience it sort of thing. It's not a let's talk about it and debate it over and over and over again. And there's a lot of debates on the Tao Te Ching. There's hundreds of books written on it. Scholars write 1,000-page books on it. But you do have to get out and you have to experience it, because there's people that might have written a 1,000-page book on Taoism that have never experienced the feeling of nature and the feeling of being in tune and at one with nature. It's taken me a long time, and I'm still getting there. I was very stuck in this world, very stuck to it, very depressed and anxious all the time. Times I didn't want to just even leave my home. But once I started embracing the gentle indifference of the universe, things started to get better, and they're getting better every day, and they will for you too. The Tao Te Ching's a beautiful book. Doesn't matter who wrote it. Doesn't matter if Lao Tzu was real or if it was written by 100 different people who contributed 81, let's say, because there's 81 paragraphs, maybe 81 people contributed one apiece. It doesn't matter. We have those sayings and we have those paragraphs, and they're all beautiful, and there's all so much to learn, and I'm looking forward to learning more with you guys as we go along. I'll try and get another video out very shortly. If you like this, just please subscribe and get a like on there, I guess. I'm not too skilled with YouTube or the new technologies. So for those of you who are interested in the science stuff, I'm going to be putting out a video on errors in chemical analysis. That's going to be coming out in about 2 or 3 days. So stick with me. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.